Hello, folks. Um, yeah, I I just don't know really what this is going to be like because there are so many things I want to talk about since I don't have a quite like a routine yet. Like, okay, I will upload every Monday or Sunday or I don't know. Um, because depression hit me really hard, I have to admit. And so I thought, like, why sitting around indulging in your self-hatred when you could actually make a video about it? And there finally you can work against yourself feeling ashamed for not uploading anything. Um, but it is quite a personal topic, especially since I don't have a proper diagnosed depression, and I didn't search for therapist yet, so I'm not in therapy, even knowing really, really well that I should. Um, and I'm in this kind of between thing. Like, I'm not totally disgusted by myself. I'm not totally in this black hole, but I'm not quite okay as well, since I'm kind of locking myself inside, having the curtains closed, and I have to force myself pretty much to do the bare minimum, like cleaning up, taking a shower, stuff like that. I'm not disgusting or anything. I'm doing it. I'm doing it when it has to be done. Then I'm cleaning my room, I'm cleaning the apartment and myself. It's not that I'm not doing it, but it's like I really have to put an effort into it. My motivation is like woo, really, really, really down, really, really low, like beyond zero. And then I have to give myself a pep talk, like for 3-5 minutes, or when it's like 2 p.m. and I say, okay, now you're cleaning up your room. Then I give myself a deadline, like you start at least in an hour. Like, if you didn't start within the next hour, you start at least like 3 p.m. And that's something that I really hate, because it should be easy. And for me it became really difficult to distinct between, is it just laziness or is it depression? Because I know my symptoms, or I know my triggers, I know how I feel when I'm depressed, and I know how it is, or when I'm just lazy. There's a quite a difference, because when I'm lazy, then I'm just lazy, then I admit it, and I don't have to force myself. When I'm lazy and I realize, okay, you should do this or that, then I just stand up and do it. Then it's for me easier to overcome my laziness, but it becomes quite more difficult for me over time to distinct those two, like laziness, depression. And I think that's really dangerous, because when you start to think of it as laziness, then you start to blame yourself for not doing something. Then you don't see it as, okay, you have a problem and you should seek for help, or at least you're doing it in the end, maybe not as fast or as efficient as you want it to be, but you do it. You're not like, the dishes aren't piling up, your room doesn't stink, um like like um like a graveyard or something, like something died in your bedroom or something. It isn't like that. And as long as it is okay, then you're not in trouble. But the easier it gets for you to see it as plain laziness, and then you think, okay, there's something wrong with you, and then it's like a circle. You start to think about it as, okay, I'm lazy, I'm unworthy, I'm not good enough. and then all the other things start to come in. And I think for me, acknowledging that I have a problem is one key to not getting into too deep into it, because when I start thinking about certain things or doing certain things, bad things, then I start to think, okay, no, stop. That's the wrong way of thinking. Like, I can't stop myself, I can't stop myself thinking it, but when it becomes too much, then I can acknowledge it and stop myself and say, no, that's the limit. That's not how you should think about it. Like when I say like, oh my gosh, I'm so lazy and I'm not worth it, then I kind of realize it at some point and say to myself, no, stop. Set your limits, set your to-do lists, work it out and do one thing at a time. And if you think you have to take it slow for a moment, then do it, as long as you don't start to have these negative thoughts all the time again. Yeah, and for me it's pretty lonely at the moment, because it's the first time that I'm alone in my apartment, because my roommate isn't around for a couple of days, for like 4 weeks, 3-4 weeks, like almost a month. Which on one side it's really, really good for me. Like on one hand it's like, okay, I have the apartment for myself, I don't have to sneak around when I don't want to meet someone, or when I have my time and I really, really want to be alone. But on the other hand, it's like I'm really pretty lonely. I'm alone and I don't have many friends in this city, and therefore it's really difficult for me to go somewhere and meet new people, because I'm I'm afraid of going somewhere alone. I mean, I like to go to a park or something, but it's very unlikely that Germans uh, go up to you and talk to you when you're sitting in a park drawing, listening to music or something, when you're not there already with a group of people. But if you sit there alone, at least for me, it's true, it's very unlikely someone would come up to me, talk to me. And I'm not a person that goes alone to a bar or to a cafe or something. So I guess that's where all this is coming from, this feeling of, yes, I have friends that I talk to on a regular basis, but I don't have these friends that I can just meet up with and have fun with and do something together, because they all live quite apart from each other. And for me, we have this very long distance between us. And that makes me sad on some level. And I guess in this video it seems as if it's very easy for me to talk about it, but it isn't. It's like I'm talking to a camera, I'm talking to something that's very unreal for me, and I just upload it, and okay, maybe I get some comments, maybe some friends will see it, but it's still not the same as attending in a real conversation with a friend. Like, most of the things that I just talked about are things my friends, maybe they know that I can have these moments, but they don't know how severe it actually is, or if I'm fine, because I don't want them to worry, and I don't quite figured it out for myself. And I'm a person that likes to keep secrets, because I don't want to be figured out by other people. And so I make it worse for myself, which is quite funny. I guess sometimes part of being inspiring, which is my main purpose with this channel, is just being open also about the bad things. I'm a very optimistic person. I'm a very lovely, funny person. Everything that I said in my former videos is true for me. But despite that fact, I have these moments where I'm really at the bottom of the sea, and I don't know, it's like drowning in all this negative thoughts, and it's really difficult for me. And I guess for me, venting this with this video is good for me in one way, because I acknowledge it on a different level, because I work on it, I talk about it, I have to think about it. And maybe for others to see that being depressed, having depression, doesn't mean you can't have a fun time and that you think like it all the time. But being happy and optimistic and inspiring and I don't know what, doesn't mean you can't be depressed. Like, we have all these different facets about ourselves. We are very colorful people, all of us. And we are not just this one person that you can describe with 3 or 4 words. Because for every friend and every person we meet, we are a different person. And I guess that's a bit of the message I try to send here. That even though I'm very honest about the bad things now and that it's maybe depressing for others, doesn't mean that the other stuff isn't true or that I'm like this all the time. But I really want to have this channel, and I really want to speak about everything. And therefore I have to talk about bad things too. Yeah, and I guess that's basically it.